Hey everybody, Mr. Horn here again, here for you. Chapter 6 on managing money is the next part we're going to do. So we started with the exponential unit, and then we got into money because loans grow exponentially, loans and investments as well. So the next part here would be about borrowing costs and the power of spreadsheets as well. I want to show you how spreadsheets, how useful they are for working with loans. So let's go ahead and get you to calculate this question just using a TVM solver. So just I should have said that in there, but use the TVM solver. So I'd encourage you to press pause, load up the TVM solver just in GeoGebra, just type in GeoGebra and get the TVM solver page like we've done in other lessons. And we're going to modify this one to match this question. So give it a chance and I'll take it up shortly here for you. So here we go. I'm $20,000. So we're going to put in 20,000 for the loan amount. That's our present value. So $20,000. And what else do we have from the question here? We got 11%. Let's do 11%. This one's just from another question I was working on. What else? We have 20 years of monthly payments. So you could either do in a calculator what 20 times 12 is for the number of payments, or you could put it in as 20 times 12 in the program. So I'll show that as well. In here, you could do 20 star 12 means multiply, gives that same number. And we have monthly payments. So 12. And it's automatically going to change the compounding periods to 12 as well, which is fine for this case because it was compounding monthly. If it wasn't, the TVM solver can handle it. You can just make it compounding however you want. So we can solve for the payment. That gives us a payment of $206.44. Okay, so I will just screenshot that in as our solution. Obviously, a therefore statement to do with therefore the monthly payment is or would be, right? So the monthly payment would be $206.44. Easy peasy. Okay, so that first part, and then determining the total amount of money spent on the boat. If you're looking in the TVM solver for it, that's not really the way to do it. Here's the number of payments times the amount. And so total paid equals, in this case, the 240 payments times, of course, the payment value of $206.44. And that gives us what as a value? So it equals, and even in the program itself, since I have it running here, I could just have this number, let's say times 240. Enter. And it tells me that we have this much money. That'll work actually. Here. This much. Looks like 60 cents. The end, I guess. Right? So that's the total amount paid. So yeah, that's a $20,000 loan that you are paying a grand total of around $50,000 for. Borrowing money is expensive. This is 11% interest, which isn't even actually that far off from current rates. Like you definitely could end up paying 9 or 10 or 11 on something if you went and bought it like a Sea-Doo or a boat or a car. Cars are typically a bit cheaper because they have a wider market to draw from. But amount of interest paid, literally just take that value and just subtract the 20,000 from it. So it's just the amount you paid, subtract the amount that you started off or actually borrowed or actually got, I guess I should say. So that's obviously just going to be $29,545.60. Okay, so very simple logical calculations to do with the results we see. And, in the end here, we'd be like, so the monthly payment or the total amount paid is, and so on. Okay. Question or good communication statements are always good. So that is that question all worked out. And now the spreadsheet example, what I want to show is something pretty powerful here. Okay, so depending on which spreadsheet, this one's made to be a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, but one maybe as well. This spreadsheet's ready to go, and it's all calculated. Now, having which year it is just a luxury. You don't have to add that in. You just payment numbers and know that after 12 payments, you're at the 1 year mark of your loan. Here we have the payment of the 206.44 that we got from the TVM solver. The interest rate in here is calculated as 11% divided by 12. It's one way to do it. You could have a separate column for interest and then paid, do the calculation in there, right? So we could have just left this as 11, and then in here did the 11 divided by 100 divided by 12 and so on, which makes it easier to change the interest rate later on. So I could change that for us here. Let's just make this be 11. And then this one, the formulas are going to go crazy for a second here, but I'll fix them in a second. So this number here needs to be not the 11 itself. That's why the number is going crazy. It needs to be the 11 divided by 100 divided by 12. And then that number needs to be times the amount borrowed. Okay, so that gives us 183.33 in interest. Our balance, of course, would just be the amount that you borrowed plus add the interest onto it, but take away the payment from it. So you can see that it's just doing that for us. Overall principal amount in the end here. So I just need to change this one more formula. This is just going to be equal to that previous interest. Boy, jump the bottom on me here. So this needs to be the same thing. It needs to be that interest rate divided by 100 and divided by 12, and times the amount that we owed. So the previous amount owing, right, would be right there. So it's going to pull from there. I'm just showing you the idea of how this works. So if you want to set up a spreadsheet at some point, you could be able to, at this point, copy that formula down. So you just drag the corner, just copy and paste or drag the corner down. 240th or so. And it's doing the calculations for us with the interest rate properly calculated and so on. Okay, so that shows you that we have these payments of the 206.44. Our balance owing, borrowed is just the original amount there, and so on. Everything's good. So you can see that out of that $803.33, $23.11 of it went towards paying off the loan. The rest went towards interest. Yeah. So the nice thing about spreadsheets, okay? The nice thing about spreadsheets is down at the bottom of our interest paid column, we could get that same value as before. So approximately, because see how the loan, it's like to the nearest cent of payments where we've overpaid by $2. So we could change our final payment to be $2 less. So take away that 201. And that makes the loan pay off to exactly zero and so on. So interest paid, if I add that up, it gives me the $29,543.59, just like in our number up here when we did the interest, 29,500. And now again, there's cents different, slight difference here because we're rounding to the nearest cent. But yeah, that's the amount. Very similar number. So now the other thing I wanted to show, obviously we could do the amount paid as well, right? Because amount paid is too easy to bother doing this, but we could use it and add up all our 206.44s. And they're like, oh, look at that, we paid 49,500 and whatever. And then the one I really want to show you is what happens if, say you sold something after the first year. You got this loan set up and you sold something. So you have, say, I don't know, $6,000 that you could either use for something else or pay onto the loan. So if you pay that onto the loan, forget what number I was saying to do earlier, but this will work anyways, right? So if you now notice you owe less money right away, right? So what happens is you end up paying off the loan really early. Let's get that. So basically all of these rows here are now payments you don't have to make anymore. All of these, it's huge, right? So by putting 6,000 early on in the loan, we've lopped off our payments all the way down to the point where instead of 30,000 or so in interest, we only have now about around 10,000. So we saved ourselves over $20,000 in interest just by paying that 6,000 onto the loan rather than letting the loan carry out for the entire 20 years. So that seems like money well spent, right? 6,000 onto the loan, and you save yourself $20,000 because you're cutting off so much of that interest paid. So if you're going into the bank to make a payment on a loan, it doesn't feel super satisfying. If you think of it as just like, you still have that same item, whatever it was, a trailer or a boat or whatever. But if you are aware of how much interest you're paying, and how much interest you're saving, it's actually really, really rewarding. Okay. So yeah, kind of neat here too. I have it calculated so it shows how much interest was paid on the first payment. Not very much goes to the principal. How much principal is paid? Sorry, not very much goes to the principal. And then as you go along, see how like out of the $206, 200 of it went towards paying off the loan because there's not very much left owing, so there's not very much interest. So they call these payments the 206. They call those your blended payments. Some of it goes towards interest, some of it goes towards principal, just kind of automatically. So that is the power of spreadsheets. So I had it before as 6,000 after a year and a half, but yeah, it's being like there's a similar numbers, like a third of the interest just by paying that off. So I use it as a motivating a way to motivate myself to pay off loans early because I can actually use a spreadsheet like this and it shows me exactly how much money I'll save. So just another one for you to calculate as part of the practice assignment. Just do the TVM solver stuff. I'm not requiring the spreadsheet stuff, but I just wanted to show it to you because it's pretty handy. And then the other one is to do with a mortgage of a house. So what does it look like if you have $480,000 of a house value, right? Mortgage 25 years and so on. So you can set up a TVM solver for that easily enough too. And either do I'm okay with just the photographs with your you take a picture of your page in your work and take a picture of the TVM solver and just put it together to be a PDF file. People were trying to make nice files with the screen capture and whatnot, but if it's easier for you, just use your camera and make it be another page in your PDF file. Be fine for me. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Not a ton of new stuff today, just more looking at the idea of the overall values. And the newest part here was the idea of being able to think of how much interest you save if you put money in to pay off the loan early. Should note, you can only do that if the loan you set up is called an open loan. You should always make sure that a loan you sign up for is open. If it wasn't open, then that $30,000 interest that you'd pay, you'd have to pay it. Like even if you paid the loan off early, you'd still be paying all that interest. In which case, there'd be no point in paying it off early, of course. So open loans, most loans. I don't know if they're. I have never signed up for or seen or had an opportunity to sign up for a closed loan because I don't even know if they exist, to be honest. But they might, and so watch out for that. Anyways, so I think that's it. I will sign off, and as always, let me know if you have any questions.